All right, back by popular demand, our buddy John Cardillo in the mix. He is a TV host, podcaster, radio host, conservative commentator, former law enforcement officer for the NYPD, and he's down in Florida. John, great to have you back, man.
Buck, always good to be with you, my friend. And I think that annoying alarm that was buzzing a little while ago, the fire department turned it off. So it looks like we're going to have a quiet interview.
As long as you're safe. Spreading freedom is important, but we care about John Cardillo's safety first and foremost as our guest here. So, all right, we got a lot of ground, a lot of things going on right now. I want to start with, and this might be me being hopeful, because, the president, I thought, gave a very good speech over the weekend, and it feels like he's starting to turn the cruise ship around from the rocks to that beautiful island we're trying to get to, right? Like, it feels as though this was the first real move from the president we've had in a while. And I also think, and I want to get your take on that, but I also want to know if you feel like the Democrat insanity about police and cops, there's a little, at least, trepidation among the smarter Democrats at the national level that this anti-cop frenzy might become a liability for them if this continues. I want you to give me your sense on both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So down here in Florida, and I was very vocal about this on Twitter, you were, our friend Ned Ryan was, people that really keep the ear to the ground. We were very concerned about what looked like a lack of proactivity in the Trump campaign. I'm so energized. I feel so much better after that Mount Rushmore speech, Buck, on the 4th. The president, it looks like, is doing what he needed to do. He's trusting his instincts again. He's not listening to the moderates, those people advising him to tone it down. He's become himself. He's the 2016 Donald Trump we wanted to see back. So I'm encouragingly, and I'm being very cautiously optimistic. I don't want to take anything for granted. The Democrats have done a very good job with their ground game, their mail-in ballot strategy here in Florida. But I'm encouraged by some moves made in the campaign. Susie Wiles back running Florida. She won it in 2016 for the president. The really fortunate byproduct of bringing her back is that all of those ground troops, there are about 3,000 very energized volunteers in Florida for the Trump campaign in 2016. Those were all her people. Her team, Karen Giorno, who ran the state in the primary. Well, all those people are now back in the mix, and they're fired up. And that makes a tremendous difference. That moves the needle for the president. So like you, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better than I was 2 weeks ago. So it's a good thing. With regards to the policing, I'm with you. I think that the Democrats really missed the mark here, because when I drive through even the most blue areas of Broward County, Blue County, on the west side of the county, heavily Democratic stronghold. But in all of those HOAs, you see one thing at night: a marked police car and an officer in uniform working the off-duty detail. So even these Democrats, they sleep very soundly in their beds, because the old Orwell quote, right? Rough men with guns stand watch, ready to, And so they want those police officers. They're law and order centric people. And now they'll be liberal to a point, and they'll sympathize with suspects who are roughed up by the police, et cetera. We get that. But they're not going to buy in to abolish the police, defund the police. They might vote Democrat, but at that HOA meeting, they also vote to pay for those off-duty police officers. And I do think that's what the president needs to step up now. He needs to message to those suburban moms, those independents, that law and order will reign supreme in the U.S. Because if he reassures those voters, those women, those moms, those wives, I think he'll have a tremendous showing in November.
Speaking of John Cardillo, conservative commentator, former law enforcement officer with the NYPD. And John, since you are down in Florida, this is a place that gets so much media attention for a lot of reasons. And I'm not talking about the Florida man stuff where somebody with roller skates and an alligator over their shoulder on top of a semi, that's other stuff, right?
They rob a Wendy's with a baby shark. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Florida man stuff is a different reason for media attention. But they have gone after Florida and almost seem to be rooting. And Paul Krugman was rooting openly for Florida seniors to get COVID, just so there'd be a political narrative that he likes, which is truly insane and evil. But now we have the city of Miami in a state of retreat from COVID, from the reopen. What's happening? Is the whole state panicking? Is it just Miami and Broward and some of the surrounding areas? And how bad is? I mean, I look at the national COVID death stats and no, this is not what they're saying it is. But in Florida, does it look like it's actually trending that way? Are we going to see different numbers in 2 weeks? What's going on?
No, listen, I live, like I said, I live down here in Broward County, and I think I met one person that had COVID, and I said, how was it? And he said, it felt like a flu. I went to bed. I woke up and I had a fever. I woke up. Sweated it out overnight. I washed my sheets and felt fine the next day. And so I'm not seeing, anecdotally anyway, this mass hysteria, and I'm not seeing the problem. The bigger problem for me, Buck, and I've been calling out Florida's governor, and I'm very upset with Republicans in Florida. And let me tell you why. You've got Carlos Jimenez, the mayor of Miami-Dade County, a Republican, but this is a Republican who proudly voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, condemned the president. And again, those moderate advisors to Donald Trump, when Jimenez jumped into the race, he's going to run for the Florida's 26th congressional district against W. Muscarell Powell. Somebody advised Donald Trump to endorse him within minutes. I thought that was a ridiculous move because Jimenez hates Trump. He hates him. He voted for Hillary in 2016. He mocks Trump behind closed doors to anybody that'll listen. So Jimenez, to me, is a Dem. He's a Dem with an R behind his name because he needed to be in that part of Miami-Dade County to win the mayoralty. You've also got these Democrats up here in Broward that are just doing something because they're statists. But I blame the Republicans in Florida because we have a Republican governor, a Republican attorney general, a Republican CFO. That's the executive committee of the state. There's one Dem on that committee, Nikki Fried, the agriculture secretary, who's wrapped up in a major scandal because her fiance allegedly physically abused her. The Fort Lauderdale police had to come, and millions went to his medical marijuana company from her agency that she oversees. The conflict of interest is glaring. There should be an investigation, but Ron DeSantis' office won't touch it. Furthermore, and here's my bigger problem, where Republicans in Florida could save this economy in this state, the biggest swing state, we have a red legislature. We have a Republican governor. Florida has preemption statutes. Our legislature could move an emergency bill tonight, Buck, basically banning cities from shutting down without the permission of the governor. The governor could sign it. Those cities will be banned legislatively by the Florida Constitution from preempting state law, and the Republicans here will not do it. They're still playing defense to the minority party Democrats, even though the entire state is red. I am so sick of this Republican Party. They're absolutely gutless.
John, there's no way, based on any map that I've seen, that the president can win re-election without Florida. I've never seen a realistic map where that.
Can't do it.
So Florida is the linchpin of the whole strategy, which is again why the focus on COVID there and on mail-in ballots, as you brought up, all the things Florida are going to get magnified in the weeks and months ahead. How are we looking there? I mean, I know there was all this talk about a surge of U.S. citizens from Puerto Rico coming to Florida after all the damage that Puerto Rico sustained, and that might swing the election, that there's this change in the law about former felons getting to vote, and how that might change the outcome. How is the Republican Party looking for this upcoming, and it's going to be here fast, election, which means basically, can Donald Trump win? I mean, if he can't win Florida, he can't win. Can he win Florida?
I mean, that is the question, right? With capital THE. I think so. I think, yeah, he can. I mean, remember last time he only won the state by like 1.5, 1.6. It'll probably be closer to a point this time around. Wouldn't surprise me if we had a Florida 2000 situation here, the Bush Gore recount. Do I think Trump can win? I do, because it's now his home state. He has a really solid, like I said a bit earlier, grassroots infrastructure here again, now that they've done some campaign team shuffling. But, man, they've got to get on the ball, Buck. I mean, they have got to start working on absentee ballots, mail-in today. It's perilously razor thin close here. But look, think about this for a second. Why isn't anyone in the you are, and I am, but the mainstream media, even the conservative media, why aren't they talking about something that's glaringly obvious if you're paying attention? All of a sudden, these Democrats and these rhinos want to shut down states and cities a week after jobs numbers beat expectations and Trump's numbers start to rise. And now all of a sudden, COVID is back. And no one is talking about it. And the White House needs to get some messaging discipline and start pushing back on this, because they're going to try to shut this state down for exactly that reason, to crush the economy, to put people out of work, and they're going to blame it on the Republicans in Tallahassee and in White House. And we're letting them do it, and it's infuriating.
John Cardillo, everybody, check him out. Follow him on Twitter if you're not already. John, it's hopefully a nice day in Florida. You can get some rays and enjoy some of that Kenny G music we could hear in the background.
You could, that was a little weird. That popped up after the fire alarm.
That's right, man. John, hey, if you like to chill out to some groovy clarinet tunes or flute or whatever that is in the background, you go ahead, man. Thanks so much, John.
Big Chuck Mangione guy, Buck.
There we go. He celebrates his whole catalog. Thanks, John. Take care.
It's clear this president wants to draw a line in the sand because he's taking a day that we will all acknowledge as we're challenging statues coming down of Confederates and outright slave owners and racists and say, no, I'm going to even put it in your face. I'm going to land that Native Americans were owed. It was theirs. It was a treaty violated. I'm going to celebrate presidents, some who advocated slavery and who, in fact, owned slaves themselves. And I'm going to do it at the risk of the health of those that are supporting me. So I'm drawing a line in the sand. This is going to be a cultural war election. And I'm on the side of white supremacy. I'm on the side of holding up the statues and relics of those that represent the dehumanization of people of color, particularly black people. And either you're on my side or the other side.
I play this, and I thought maybe we wouldn't share the Reverend Al audio here. Remember, this guy has a show. I think he still has a show at MSNBC and is treated as really an elder statesman within the Democrat Party. Here he's saying that Trump is on the side of white supremacy, which is a vile smear, but, that's not, Al Sharpton, Tawana Brawley, go back in time, learn the stories. You find out that Al Sharpton has gotten away with defamation that led to a man's suicide, a rape hoax that he helped perpetuate. The woman lost a judgment. That's how much of a lie it was, a defamation judgment, and was owed money to the people and they were all white males that she alleged raped her, Tawana Brawley. That was all a lie, as we know. He has said truly vile anti-Semitic things in the past. That's a matter of record. And he is just a decades-long con man. And yet he is listened to. Yet Democrats elevate him. He's considered a community leader, a national voice, ran for president. Why does anyone listen to Al Sharpton? There's a lot of ways that I could try to answer this, or there's a lot of things you could throw into the mix here, but I just think that asking the question in a sense is enough. Remember, this is the party that believes it is a moral force, that it is going to achieve justice, and one of the longest standing social justice grifters out there is the Reverend Al Sharpton, right? This guy's been doing it longer than anybody else you see on the scene. He was out there before Black Lives Matter, using social justice and really division and exacerbating divide and hatred between people and distrust, and he'd been benefiting himself from that, and he's never held to account. It's remarkable. Never. The media is still he's celebrated in the media. It's stunning what this guy has gotten away with, as long as he has. But that's the Democrat. And if you want to run for president, for years and years, you had to go and kind of get like the Sharpton endorsement. Anyway, it just maybe because I'm from New York and New Yorkers tend to know the Reverend Al more sort of up close and personal from his past here and everything else. But it's Democrats. Democrats, just a shameful bunch of frauds. They really are. Now we have something else I want to talk to you about, which is usually I avoid the royal family stuff because who cares, right? But I just thought that this was kind of funny. So now we have, what is it, producer Mark, which one is it? Prince Harry, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Not the other one, but the younger one. Yeah,
the one married to Meghan Markle, right?
Yeah, married to Meghan Markle. And, in the UK, they're still fascinated by all this. I find the whole royal family thing to be kind of a who cares situation. But they've left the royal family. They're still somehow really rich, even though wouldn't those all be public funds? Shouldn't they have to give back all of that money? I mean, what? I don't get it at all. We be thankful at least we don't have a royal family. Thank you, 1776. Booyah. Thankful we don't have a royal family, at least technically, in America. But now they're living in a mansion in Hollywood. They're living in a mansion in Hollywood, and he has to make these videos where it's like the royal family, the prince or whatever he is, the Prince of Wales, or is he the other one? He's like the prince, probably the Archduke of Suffolk. I don't know. Whatever. I hate all that stuff. It's all such nonsense. But it is funny because he has to make videos now. Meghan Markle is apparently pushing him to do this. He's married an American actress who's all about social justice, where he has to say things like, oh, play clip 2.
Certainly when you look across the Commonwealth, there's no way that we can move forward unless we acknowledge the past. And I think so many people have done such an amazing, incredible job of acknowledging the past and trying to right those wrongs. But I think we all acknowledge on here that there is so much more still to do. It's not going to be easy, and in some cases it's not going to be comfortable, but it needs to be done because guess what? Everybody benefits. So I think there's a hell of a lot that we together need to acknowledge. But I only see hope and optimism in the fact that we could only do this together.
We have to, in this moment in time, say, we're going to have to be a little uncomfortable right now, because it's only in pushing through that discomfort that we get to the other side of this and find the place, as you're pointing out, where a high tide raises all ships.
Is that enough, honey? Was it enough? Was it saying enough about our confronting our past so we can all move together and forward? And honey, do I get to stop sleeping on the couch now? It really was like this guy's making a hostage video. It's like, is that enough, darling? I really think we need to confront our past. And yeah, we may be here in a $10 million home in Beverly Hills, and we are living off of money that we only have because we're essentially a family that is an economic parasite on the UK. But I think we should all confront our past and be much more brave from our mansions in Hollywood about what the British Commonwealth did.
That's amazing. I love this guy. Look, I've been there, man. I've been there. You know, sometimes a pretty lady wants you to apologize even when you did anything wrong. And you know what? The guys in the audience know you're going to apologize, right? You're going to apologize. It's just the way that it is, you know? Hey, a smart man knows when the pretty lady says you're going to have to say sorry for something, even if you're like, what? I didn't even do it to you. You want to sleep on the couch? No, then you apologize. So I'm sure he's got a very fancy couch, but he's making the necessary. I'm going to be a big advocate for confronting our past and making sure that. Sure you are, buddy. Yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, really uncomfortable for you to get all those likes and thumbs up on social media. Man, after Independence Day, it's worth thinking about how lucky we are we don't have a royal family.
It's time for roll call.
All righty. Let us get to it. Let us do all of the things. Producer Mark, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling today?
Feeling all right. Got a nice amount of sleep last night, so that's good.
There we go. Yeah, he was kind of a happy Mark today. I got to tell you, he's not a particularly grumpy.
Would you like me to yell at you for something?
No. We like a happy Mark. We don't want to mess with that at all. So that's a good thing. But yeah, man, thank you for pulling all the roll calls together. Make sure that you give Producer Mark enough to do this week by calling in and leaving voicemails. 844-900-2825, 844-900-BUCK. This has now become a fan favorite, and it's a favorite of nobody's as much as it is Mark's. He likes staying up late at night listening to all your voicemails. So
yeah, and if you could make them coherent, that would be nice too.
They're excellent, Producer Mark. We've had excellent voicemails, although I guess you hear all of them, and I only hear the good ones.
You hear like 2% of them.
Well, please do leave messages, folks. We do enjoy it. Also, write to us, teambuck@iheartmedia.com, or if you want to send us a Facebook message. And also, check out the Buck Brief on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/BuckSexton. Please share the Buck Brief to your page. Sharing it is the most important thing you can do for any of our Facebook posts, because then other people in your Facebook network will see it. So please share. Like is nice. Share is the best. Share it on your Facebook pages. And remember, bucksexton.com is your one-stop shop for the podcast, stories throughout the day, all kinds of good stuff like that. So with that, we have Tim, who writes, Buck, remember when the Project Veritas posted the Bernie brothers and said they were going to burn down the country if Bernie was the nominee? Maybe the next time we don't dismiss the radical nut jobs. In the Marine Corps, they told us we need to destroy the will of the people to conquer a country. I feel the radicals are conquering our country. Well, Tim, yeah, that's true. If you want to subdue a nation, you have to subdue the will of the people to resist. And right now, gosh, that word resist and resistance has been polluted by the left and by the Democrats. It certainly feels like it's very difficult to push back on the insanity being shoved down our throats by Democrats all the time. There is no equivalent situation where Democrats can say something about, how they disagree with conservatives on a matter of policy, and they have to worry about getting fired and having their lives ruined. We have to worry about this all the time. We have to have a constant sense of anxiety from not being in a position to say what we think and say what we mean. So, yeah, that's where we are. That's and that is influencing so much, not just in politics, in everything now. Our entertainment, sports, culture, conversations with friends. I mean, I'm always amazed at how often I still come across people who just speak as though that the assumption they should have is like anybody in New York City hates Trump, and so they'll just launch into how terrible Trump is. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, clearly you do not know who you're talking to. So that happens sometimes. I mean, strangers, be sitting in line at a grocery store. So, oh, Trump's the worst. No, I think Biden's a lot worse actually, but I won't get into that with strangers. I try not to. Sheldon, Buck and producer Mark, this, see below, will be inked on me next month. I hope it's not trademarked. I'll send a picture of the tattoo when it's completed. Shields high. That's actually a badass insignia. I got to say, that's pretty cool. Producer Mark, when are you going to get a Shields high tattoo?
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, Buck, but I'm Jewish, and Jews do not get tattoos.
I did know you were Jewish. I did not know that was a thing, though, that
yes.
About the tattoos.
You cannot be buried in a Jewish cemetery if you have a tattoo.
Really?
Yes. In fact, there's a whole episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm about
this is why I should know this.
His mother had to be put in the special section, and he had no idea his mother had a tattoo until she passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is this? Is this like a verse in Leviticus or something? Like what?
I'm not really
or
sure.
The Torah or what?
Of it. Yeah, it's somewhere in the Torah, I'm sure.
How good is your Hebrew?
Awful.
Yeah.
I was bar mitzvahed, like I used to be able to read it and whatnot. Now, ugh.
Fair point. Okay.
I can give you the prayer for the Hanukkah candles. That's about it.
What does because I sang it at your wedding? What does Hava Nagila mean?
It's just a celebratory song. I have no idea. Why are you putting? You're putting.
You're
me on
supposed to
blast
know.
Right yeah.
I don't know.
I have no. It's just but it is the best part of a Jewish wedding.
Yeah. Good call. Okay. Jacqueline next. By the way, that tattoo this guy is going to get is actually really cool, and that's an amazing homage to the show, Sheldon. And please do send us a photo of your Shields High tattoo when you get it. It's just a badass. It's a badass emblem you've got going here anyway. So I'm all about it, man. Good for you. That's a really. Does he make this? That's impressive. Anyway,
it looks like just a regular guy in a shield. Like a Roman fighter, is that?
Yeah,
what
it looks like the headpiece of either a Roman gladiator or a Greek in the phalanx. Although in the phalanx they would have also usually had a large plume from the top of the helmet, but that would have looked weird, and you don't want to. The plume might mess up the design for the tattoo. So I like this. This is more of a standard helmet. It's pretty cool. Good stuff, man.
T-shirt just like it.
Definitely better to get a Shields High tattoo that people just think is badass than a Buck Sexton swoop tattoo of the hair, they'll be like, what's going on there? You know? So I support this Shields High decision. I don't have any tattoos, but if I were to get one, I would get this one. This one's pretty cool.
You're not going to get one to like your face somewhere?
I feel like a guy who has a tattoo of himself on his body probably has issues.
If
right?
there's anyone I know who would do it.
Wow. The view from under the bus is sad and rough. All right, Jacqueline. Hey, Buck, talking to my liberal friends, they don't expect Biden to last long. They're really going to be voting for him in the hopes his vice president will be someone of worth. Oh, I almost forgot. We had the top of the show. I got to take a whole little breather here for a second. Well, let me finish Jacqueline's thing. Nervous for the official announcement about who's going to be running with him. They're hoping the back door and really want it to be Joe, probably not making it through his term if elected. That's my theory. Okay, Jacqueline. I mentioned this at the top of the show. I meant to get to it. So you got right now, it seems, Stacey Abrams has faded from the conversation, and a lot of this is just driven by people trying to get clicks and media and journalists covering things. Stacey Abrams has faded a little bit, and it looks like Kamala Harris and Susan Rice are the two front runners. Susan Rice has never won any elected office, so her electability and her political skills, I think that's an obvious question mark, and no one really knows. But she was Obama's U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, a national security advisor, and so, okay. Maybe that's a pick that would work for the Democrats. Kamala Harris, the media, if Biden picks her, the media loves Kamala Harris. Absolutely loves her. And are still a little bit upset and befuddled about why she didn't catch on more with Democrat voters, including African-American Democrat voters who in the primary were Biden voters. Right? Not excited about Kamala Harris. And I mean, not like Pete Buttigieg not excited because Buttigieg, all of the Wellesley class of 2018 that was thinking, yes, Buttigieg, it's gonna, nope, not gonna happen. You gotta have a candidate for the Democrat office that has some support in the minority community. It turns out you need that. Buttigieg was at pretty much zero the whole time. But yeah, the answer, I have no idea who the Democrats are going to pick because I don't think the Biden campaign knows. They're still figuring it out right now. I guess they'll have to decide in the next month or so. And everyone always makes a much bigger deal of this than it probably really should be. Who really knows whether it's going to move the needle one way or the other. But yes, the theory that Jacqueline's talking about here, that Democrats care a lot more about this vice president than they normally would about a vice president because they know that Biden may not be able to make it to a second term, just health-wise. The guy's old. He's 78 years old. And I know there are 78-year-olds who listen to this show who could bench press me and run faster than me and respect. But a lot of people at 78 being the president and signing up for what really should be an expected 8-year commitment, Biden would be finishing the presidency when he's 85. He hasn't committed to being a one-term president. 85, 86, I don't know. It depends on, how he would be, 8 years. He's 78. So, 85 or 86, depending on when his birthday is, I guess. I mean, why not have a president who's 100, right? I mean, are we allowed to say at some point it's just too much, you're too old? I would think so. But it's all right. We'll see what happens, Jacqueline. All right, more roll call. Chris writes, "Hey, Buck and producer Mark. So I live in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and Trump has a rally here at the Pease Trade Port, the old Air Force base, on Saturday. To say the local libs are melting down is an understatement. They called an emergency city council meeting to try and make masks mandatory before the weekend comes. However, it's being held on government property, so the mandate won't even matter. Everyone is posting all over Facebook to buy all the tickets as well, so people can't attend, except that's not how it works. This city is out of control right now. Thanks for all you do. Shields high. Yeah, Chris, remember, Democrats think that the way to win debate is not have a debate, to shut it down before it can happen and to force people to do what you want without hearing what they have to say about any of it. That is the plan. That is how they roll. I'm sure it'll be a very lively atmosphere outside and inside the Trump rally on Saturday in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I was in New Hampshire for the... Gosh, was I? No, it wasn't in Portsmouth. I was in 2016. I went up and I interviewed Rubio and Kasich and what's his name? Rand Paul and I think Carly Fiorina, who now is a Democrat. And there are a few. I can't even remember all there were so many candidates. I can't remember them all. The only candidate I think was in Manchester, New Hampshire. Not Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I think that's right. The only candidate that I knew I wasn't going to get to interview was Donald Trump. He was the only one he's the only one who didn't show, Producer Mark.
It's ironic looking back at it.
You know what I mean? There I am. I'm here. I got all these candidates, and everyone's like, oh, Ted. I've interviewed Ted Cruz a bunch of times. Ted Cruz, everyone's going to be there, but no, you're not going to get to actually interview the guy who ended up becoming president. It's pretty funny. He wasn't even there. It wasn't even my fault. He didn't even decide to show up. Pretty funny in retrospect how all that stuff goes. All right. The next up here, we have Eric. Hey, Buck. Love the show. Haven't missed a word since quarantine started. Thanks to all my free time due to King Cuomo and Jester de Blasio. A few weeks back, I ran into an old friend when I was on the run on the West Side Highway. I knew he was a lib because of his post on Facebook. I also wasn't in the mood, so I enacted my play dumb mode with lib. Not proud of it, but sometimes I just want to get going and there's no point in dealing with them. However, this was around the time the media was slamming hydroxychloroquine. So I asked him what he thought of it. He said, oh, that doesn't work. Trump is only pushing that to get votes. Obviously, this answer is dumb on many levels, but mostly very concerning. Side note, you helped me convert a few people into full supporters. Second side note, earlier this year you said you might get into stand-up comedy. Still a chance. Thanks. Well, Eric, let's take those in reverse order. I do not recall saying I was ever going to do stand-up. That would be... I think I said that's the only thing I won't do. Right? Producer Mark?
Yeah, you definitely have spoken about doing stand-up.
No, but about how hard it is. I don't think I got the...
I think it'd be great. Like, you could do stand-up and I would just stand there with a microphone mocking you.
No, you'd have to be in the audience heckling that way.
Okay.
Otherwise, it seems like you're part of the act, and you might actually be funny.
True.
So we'd have to have you in the audience be like, "You're the worst," And I'm like,
you have to tell the staff though, so I don't get kicked out.
"Hey, my swoop just flew in from Omaha, and man, are my arms tired?" Like, yeah,
You're ugly.
Right? Bad. So, did you just see how ugly?
Yeah, I just named a random insult.
Wow. Producer Mark, settle down, buddy. Settle down.
Joking around with the heckling.
You're the worst.
Gosh.
Well,
because you said hair first.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, your hair's ugly.
Oh no, dude! I get told about libs. The libs. The first two things I hear from libs on social media or whenever they is your name is stupid and you're ugly. Those are the two go-tos every time. Your name is dumb and you're ugly. And I'm always like,
You're ugly is actually nice compared to some of the things I hear about you sometimes.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you being there.
Well, you're the one who makes me listen to the voicemails every week.
Wow. Who calls in and says mean things on voicemail? What a psycho.
Probably.
God, I guess people do. Brian, Buck and Mark, hope you guys had a good Independence Day. I made sure to... I wanted to first let me thank Eric for converting people, for passing the buck. That's the single most helpful, most important, most wonderful thing you can do. Just get them to go to bucksexton.com so the podcast is there, or iHeart, or Spotify. Get them to listen, please. Brian, Buck and Mark, hope you guys had a good Independence Day. I made sure to passive-aggressively call it that to my liberal friends in group text messages. Because I have an iPhone, I get Apple News Daily. My liberal friends plus family send me links to educate me from Apple News Daily. It is a hodgepodge of liberal talking points drawn from mainstream media. Apple News Daily is pure communist propaganda and a disinformation campaign. We need to start calling it out as such. How are people falling for this crap? Ugh. Brian, I agree with you. I take your word for it. Thank you for writing in. Thank you for standing tall for freedom, America, the Freedom Hut, all those good things. All right, everybody, that's the show. It'll be awesome tomorrow and the next day. Speak to you then. Shields high.